Good morning. I am Brian Carpenter, sports editor of the Meriden Record Journal, alongside, as always, Mr. Sean Krofsick, Mr. Green.
Mr. Green.
And my man Peter Paguagua with his hat, setting a style statement on his way to Vermont for a ski trip, but not before we bring you This Week in High School Sports, presented to you by Gaylord Specialty Healthcare. Guys, kind of a short week again this week, but we got to some good games. And it started Monday night in girls basketball, Sheehan and Cheshire rematch, and it appears to be, boys, it went a lot like the first game. Yeah. Cheshire gets fast out of the gate. Sheehan, with a little bit more depth, comes fighting back and takes control.
Yeah. Obviously, Liv Robles led the way for Sheehan with 23 points, but senior captain Carolyn Beal had a big game for the Titans, 15 points. I believe she had 10 boards. Very impressive. Yeah, they got off to they were pretty even. Judaitis was unstoppable in that first half, like she was in the first meeting in Cheshire. And like you said, Sheehan's our deepest girls team. They can just keep bringing in these interchangeable parts, and a lot of the younger ones at this point of the year have really matured. And they made their foul shots down the stretch. I think they only missed 2 foul shots in the whole game. I think they were actually 3. I think they were 28 for 31 from the line. Sheehan knew how to finish.
You know, we talk a lot about Melanie Polanco and Jeanette Wadalowski over in Southington. Last week we did a lot, rightfully so. But watching Mia and Robles go shot for shot was awesome. I mean, they are obviously they're 2 of our best basketball players, and they're both juniors. You know, I mean, we're going to have them for another year. But watching them go head-to-head, Mia had, at 30?
She had 30.
Julia came back late, with the 23. Like she did the last time they played, and just watching. I think at one point they just went like possession for possession against each other, and it was really nice watching like 2 of our best players in the area going head to head and really living up to as great as we know that they can be.
Yeah. That's true, guys. And Sean and I were just talking. Sheehan, obviously, they're 10-6. They're in. We're taping this on Thursday, and I know they play again on Friday. But pretty much 6 of our 8 teams are in. Lyman Hall's right there at 7-8. Quadruple overtime loss to Hill House last night. Unbelievable. I know you're going to talk to Tom Lipka and the girls when we get out of here. And then Cheshire, they beat Sacred Heart the other night, so they're 2 wins away too. We could have all 8 of our girls basketball
teams in there. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, and you mentioned Mia and Liv are juniors. Jeanette and Melanie getting a lot of the props this year with the 1,000 points. And on Monday night, the first game you were at, they honored Melanie for hitting 1,000.
Yeah, so Melanie Polanco hit 1,000 at the end of last week. Showcased it on the show here. Before the game, they honored her with a ball that was signed by her teammates from the game, her shot that she made. There were flowers and balloons. It was nice to do it in front of the home crowd. A lot of Maloney fans there. That was nice, and then she went right to work. Scored 21 points,
and to the
Wilcox Tech. So
that's right.
And the Spartans. It was nice to see them come out and play well, knowing that they needed to win to clinch a spot in the playoffs. First time
since 2012.
2012 for John's been there 2 years, and now they're back into the tournament. But they'll tell you this first: they did not play well against Buckley last week. No. In a game where they knew what the implications were, and they knew if they had 2 winnable games, and they played really bad against Buckley, but they were able to win, and they came out against Wilcox Tech, and they put it to them, clinched the spot, was never really in doubt, and Spartans are dancing. So
yeah, and we should mention, so are the Wilcox Tech Indians. They have our best record. They are. I wrote it down, 12-4. Wow. They actually took a 9-game winning streak into that Maloney game. There are 2 losses to Maloney and Platt. I think we've seen all of those games.
Yes, we have.
They're not going to want to see you at their games.
No, probably not. Nicole Tiazzi did not play, so they were down one of their starters. San Pietro, though, Athlete of the Week nominee from a couple of weeks ago, she played well, hit a couple of shots early. They're good. I mean, obviously they're good for the league that they play in.
12-0 in that league.
Hey. So
apples to apples.
But they're probably not going to want me at games anymore. I have been their bad luck charm. For the girls' team, at least.
Another girl we should mention from that team, because she's an Athlete of the Week nominee this week, is Miss Tatiana Gonzalez.
Yes. Go out and vote.
Yes, absolutely. Polls are open through Sunday. All right, listen, we're going to take a little halftime break here. We come back, talk a little boys basketball and ice hockey. Right now, a little message from Gaylord Specialty Healthcare.
Feel the music from your head to your toes to your shoes. Kick them off and take a deep breath and shake off the
Thank you again for being a presenting sponsor, you folks down at Gaylord Specialty Healthcare. Very happy to have you folks on board. All right, we move on to the second half. We're going to go to boys basketball. Pete, you picked up on Wilcox Tech boys down in Ansonia against O'Brien. They won that game handily. We just mentioned the Wilcox girls have the most wins. Best boys team as far as wins and losses, Wilcox Tech, 13-2 with that win.
Yes, and I think they want me to be at every one of their games because every time I go, they win.
There you go, man.
Well,
That's your tails.
Nice, dominant 65-39 win. It wasn't like that early on. O'Brien actually hung with them for a little bit. I was talking to the gentleman who worked at O'Brien Tech. We were in the corner. We were just talking. And he's like, Wilcox, they beat us by 30 last time. O'Brien was hanging. I was like, they score in bunches, and then all of a sudden it was like 12-4 O'Brien, and then 19-12 Wilcox. You're just like, what happened? They get running, they start hitting shots, and they can just flip the switch like that. And another thing he pointed out, which we've said a million times on here, is anyone who ever watches Wilcox for the first time, the first thing that stands out is how well they pass the ball. And sometimes I think they make the extra pass, and it can cost them. But they've been able to get away with it so far. It's not a bad thing to pass too much, but
it's an interesting point. Because Shawnee has mentioned that when they get up and down the floor, really in transition, that they're really, really crisp. And that's when things are happening so fast. You're really not even thinking too much. It's just you're in the flow. So you don't make that one extra pass. Yeah. And it seems they're even more efficient when they're moving and grooving, huh, Sean?
Yeah, they are. And the thing with them, they also have size. And their size is a huge advantage, especially in that league. And one thing they have to do is, Coach Farkas tells me, they don't have a lot of depth, so they got to stay out of foul trouble. Yeah. And they've, in this winning streak, obviously they've been able to do that and keep their big guys in the game.
Yeah, and they, Will Pollock, their big guy, he had 10.
Coming back from injury, that was big for them.
He's just fun to watch. He looks like Rob Gronkowski. That's every time I see him running the court, I'm like, there's Rob Gronkowski. He just has that Gronk look to him. Soto had 13, and DJ put up his, regular 26. The kid just scores. Unbelievable. And when he gets going, too, though, it's just basket after basket after basket after basket. And sometimes you kind of don't even notice it. You kind of just look at the score sheet and you're like, he had 26, really? He just always scores.
That's how you want your scorer to score.
Oh, absolutely.
Really? He had that many?
Yeah.
Well, hey, guys.
Everybody got involved, so it was pretty great.
Yeah. Wilcox Tech 13-2, and then we also have Cheshire and Southington sitting on nine wins apiece. Now I know Cheshire's going down to prep tonight, and Southington's playing in Avon. Both could conceivably have 10 wins when they play each other on Monday in Southington.
That's going to be a fun game, just flat out. We've talked about Southington, about how well they play defense, how they have a handful of guys who can score, and then you flip it to Cheshire, and it's kind of the same thing. Cheshire has 6-7 guys who can score. They play defense well. You don't really know whose night it's going to be.
Unfortunately, last night, Sean, you saw him against Hand. It was really nobody's night. One of the rare eggs for Cheshire.
It was. It wasn't the best night, as you said. They came right out of the gate. They were down 9-2 and right off the bat. They rallied back. They got within 20-20 at the half. Hand went on a 9-2 run to start the third quarter, and they could never really recover after that.
You could chalk that up. Obviously, Dan Lee's not going to use this excuse, but we can because we're sitting here. But, it was a big emotional letdown after the Xavier game.
Yes.
That was a game that we spoke to Ben the day of. They really thought they would win that game. They were obviously had a very good chance to win that game. And you could argue that it was a little bit of an emotional letdown coming off of that game.
A kid hits a shot with 6 seconds to go. Yeah. Jackson Benigni for Xavier, their best player. Hey, that's a ball game. And, you get the air taken out of your sails. But also, guys, let's not forget, Hand just beat Hill House a week before, coached by Jimmy Economopoulos, who you spoke with, old friend from Lyman Hall. He's with the Trojans when they got to the state finals against Maloney. Jimmy can coach. That's what you told me, and you're doing a story on Jimmy. And he's building a good program down there.
He is. Won 19 last year. Jim, congratulations, 7-7, 1 win away. You got a rematch with Hill House. So that team they're tall, they're talented. That Hand team was impressive last night.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We're going to move over to hockey now because, Pete, you were busy last night actually doing some hockey. You double-teamed.
All over the place.
Yes, absolutely. You started over at Northford where Lyman Hall Co-op played hand, and talk about crazy. It was 11-6.
I had to leave after one point. Well, I had to get to West Hampton, to be honest with you. But I left at 7-2, and it finished 11-6. So I don't know what happened. But
8 more goals.
Yeah,
that's what happened.
Defense optional after I left. But Lyman Hall's just so good. And, they really just get going. And when they get going, again, we're going to say this for the 1 millionth time. When they score in bunches. We've seen it before. When they lost, when they were down 2-0 to Sheehan, or 3-0 to Sheehan, whatever it was, they came back and scored 3 straight goals to win 3-2. And then the next game, they were down 2-0 again, scored 3 straight goals to win again. So this team, when they score, they get going. Yeah. Really, it was really impressive. Kyle Roberts always scores when I'm there.
That's why he's up to 100 already.
Yeah.
100 career points for Kyle Roberts.
He scored 2 goals and then grabbed an assist on Matt Pettit's goal, which, again, Matt Pettit always scores when I'm there. You know who doesn't? Scott Bradley. Okay?
No, Scott scored after you left.
Yeah. Scott, I've never seen Scott Bradley score a goal, and I'm pretty sure he's our second leading scorer in the area. But, they played well. In a game like this, again, I wasn't there, so this is all pure speculation. A game like this, you're up by a lot. Maybe you start running 4 lines, start playing some of the younger kids, and get some goals late. That's basically how I chalked it up. But Lyman Hall's so good, and they're rolling right now.
They've won what, like 7 in a row?
Yeah, something like that. And I heard from people from their game on Saturday they didn't play their best game, and they still won 5-2.
Yeah, against Massac. Yeah, they did.
So Lyman Hall's. They're fun.
They're 10-3. Yeah. Sheehan's 9-2. Just saying. Everybody's playing on Saturday. It's going to be a big day on Saturday. You're going to miss. Joe Boyle's all fired up. He's going to all 4 games.
Well, he bailed on me yesterday, so
That's okay. He's ready to go on Saturday with all 4 games. Hall, Southington, and Cheshire in Division 2. Also having good seasons. Looking obviously to climb the rankings. But right now, Lyman Hall's number 5 in Division 3, which is amazing. Thinking they have 10 wins and are only number 5, and they just beat number 1.
Well, you look at it. I guess they did beat Staples. But Staples has, I think, 3 Division 1 wins.
Yes.
So, that's a lot of power points, and that's basically the system that they play in down in the FCAC, which you can argue is good. I'm very anti-FCAC schedule. I think it's the dumbest thing in the world. That's my personal opinion. But, that's kind of where it's weighted. But Lyman Hall knows where they stand. They know that they can beat Staples. Yeah. So them being in 5 and Staples still being in the top spot, I don't think it shakes anything. Look, you have to get in. And when you get in, anything can happen.
That's right. And if you're playing well, it doesn't matter what your seed is.
Exactly.
True. Then the other game that you caught on Wednesday was the Cheshire Amity game, and that was a good one because Cheshire's down 3-1. They come back. Yeah. Liam Clay gets 2 goals to put him ahead in the 3rd period, and then James Blum ties it for Amity.
With his second goal of the game as well.
With like a minute and a half to go.
It was like a minute 41. Yeah, that was... I've seen a lot of overtime games this year. This is actually the first game I've seen. But yeah, it was. Cheshire has had their goal scoring problems, and we've noted that a million times on the show. They finally score over 3 goals, and for the second time this year, they've allowed more than 3 goals. So it was like a weird. It was just a weird game. They go up 1-0. Amity scores 3 in a row. Go up 3-1. Cheshire comes back. To take the lead late, and then Amity ties it, and it was just a nice back and forth, crazy hockey game. 4-4, 8 goals were scored, but it was like a good, well played back and forth game, not an 11-6 catastrophe that wasn't.
Well, Cheshire was their second overtime game of the week because they won out in New Milford on Monday 2-1. Kyle Latorno had the game winner there.
He scored the first goal.
He scored the first one. That's right. James Olnicki getting in on the action
again.
Too.
Another guy who always scores whenever I'm there. Clay always scores when I'm there. I don't know what it is.
They'll be looking for you on Saturday. Oh, that's right. You're going to be skiing. Cheshire's playing Brantford on Saturday. That'll be quite a game. Cheshire's 7-6-1, but man, that's just a record that doesn't reflect the level of play of that team.
You get to the tournament, it falls to your goalies, and their goalies have going into last night. They have a combined 1.7 goals against. You get to the playoffs, you play more defense, you limit the lines. Maybe you're only playing 2-3 lines. You're only playing your best players. That's going to come down to the goalie, and Cheshire might be the most rich at that position in our area.
And that could prove to be the richest tournament for us come postseason time, too. We're hoping to have all 8 girls basketball teams. With the boys right now, it's just 3, and unless the Wallingford schools, Platt and Maloney, get their act going, it's just going to be those 3. But hockey does look like a rich field, all 4 teams, and yeah. Anyways, folks, we passed the torch now here in the early first week of February. We got a couple more weeks to go in the regular season before we hit the conference tournaments. You'll be all nice, rested and relaxed, rip-roaring, ready to go, Pete, next week.
I don't break anything.
Don't, please. Dear Lord, don't, please. Shawnee, you got something to Cheshire on Monday. That should be a very, very good game. We're looking forward to seeing that. For now, we appreciate you tuning in to This Week in High School Sports, presented to you by Gaylord Specialty Healthcare. I am Brian Carpenter, sports editor of the Record Journal, alongside Shawnee Krofsick, Peter Paguagua. Thank you to Justin Weeks for all the running around he does as well, taking pictures. Joe, get ready, man. Get a good night's sleep on Friday. You got 4 games on Saturday, kid. All right, folks, we'll catch you next week on This Week in High School Sports.